When journalist Dasha Burns dared to report Fetterman's trouble with carrying a conversation and his need for a teleprompter during her interview with him, she was attacked by colleagues for ableism. Listen.
I actually thought it was inappropriate that she said during small talk before our interview.
Maybe she's bad at small talk. Maybe it was her.
Yeah, ableism. The media class knows that Democratic control of the Senate could hinge on that one seat, the Pennsylvania race, and they've done their best to spin John Fetterman's May stroke as a non-issue. Last night, it all blew up in their face during the most anticipated debate of the midterm cycle. Fetterman's distressing frailties were on full display. Politically, it was an unmitigated disaster for him. Perhaps the worst debate performance of a major U.S. candidate ever. For me, it was awful to watch. Look, he deserves all of our sympathy and should be focusing on his recovery, not seeking political office right now. It almost felt like abuse. Fetterman's opening line set the stage for a total meltdown of the Senate hopeful.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Good God. Hi, good night, everybody. Again, Fetterman's responses were more than a few mixed up words. It was repetitive. It was jumbled. His thoughts were often all over the place, and they were difficult to understand.
I didn't hear you say you would release your full medical records. Why not? You have 30 seconds.
No, again, my Dr. L believes that I'm fit to be serving, and that's what I believe is where I'm standing.
Yeah, well, he's right. He was standing there. Here's a clip of his complete inability to explain something very, very important. Fracking, our oil industry in Pennsylvania. Listen.
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand, and I do support fracking.
I do, and I don't, and I do. I guess it can't be wrong, right? Over and over, viewers saw a man who lacks the capacity to serve as a U.S. senator. A few liberal journalists told the truth for once.
It's very obvious that he is impaired. His ability to communicate is impaired. That's something that the voters of Pennsylvania are going to be sorting through, even if people on the left don't want to pretend that it doesn't exist. It does exist.
Was it hard, Joe? Was it really hard? See, you can do it, Joe Scarborough. It's okay. But here's where it got weird, folks. Others clung to their ideology despite all of it, including opinion writers for the Philadelphia Inquirer who declared Fetterman the night's winner. Unfortunately for them, the debate was televised.
This was a candidate who was feeling stress, and there was such intense scrutiny, often ableist scrutiny, on how he was going to communicate, and he just did a debate in front of, the nation.
I think it takes real courage to show that you've been knocked down. I think it takes real bravery to allow people to see your weakness.
Authentic and who will fight for working families in Pennsylvania and who's got a real and strong record as lieutenant governor and mayor to run on.
I think he blew up one of the arguments that you heard from Dr. Oz's team, that he was like not cognitively there. He followed all the issues that were happening, that were discussed, He talked about his message. He talked about his record. He defended his record against the onslaught of ads that we've seen.
That's what you call gaslighting, folks, where all the liberals come out and say, oh, he won. He did well. He blew up the arguments against him that he's not all there. Are you kidding me? Hello, good night. I'm against fracking. I'm for fracking. I'm against fracking. Are you kidding me? I'm not being mean. It never should have happened. In fact, the man should sit this one out. He had a stroke. He's not well right now. Not to be cold-hearted, but instead smart-minded. That man was not ready for that debate, and that man may not be ready for an all-important Senate seat. We can't afford someone that unwell. Casting the final vote in some of the extremely sensitive national issues, the security issues, our economic issues. Do you want that guy making that decision? He can't even decide if he's there or not. Like our energy policy. But to the left, none of that matters, of course, because the balance of power in America may ride on the outcome of that one election, that one seat, the Pennsylvania Senate seat. But bigger than just one seat. That one seat may very likely decide whether Joe Biden and the liberal wasteland that has now become the Democrat Party retain their stranglehold on America and Americans. Remember, Supreme Court justices, before seated on the high court, must go through rigorous vetting by the Senate, and not just the high court. The Senate has a final say on ambassadors and judicial court justices as well. A lot riding on that. So, tons riding on that, in fact, that one Pennsylvania seat. And one very, very important thing the Senate is responsible for: impeachments. Come November, the House will assuredly go to the GOP in a big way. And the House is where impeachment trials happen. But it's the Senate's job to confirm or deny the House's impeachment decisions. I can foresee a Biden impeachment. I really can. For putting American interests at risk, for handing over our energy sovereignty to the oil sheiks, for laying out a red carpet, handing over American security and safety and opportunity to foreigners at the border. These are impeachable crimes, and the House will likely proceed, I would bet. But it's the Senate's job to confirm that impeachment of the president, or the Secretary of Homeland Security for that matter, or countless other criminals running the D.C. prison. The Senate, which may come down to this guy, this deciding vote.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Hello. Hello. Hi, good night, everybody. That should exactly be what Pennsylvania voters should say to Fetterman. Hi. Good night, John. Are you paying attention yet? Are you?